1. e4, Robert James Fischer opens with the king's pawn, his preferred weapon for creating sharp, tactical battles where his legendary calculation can dominate from the very first move. 1. e6, the German Masterclass Darga chooses the solid and reliable French defense, aiming for a more strategic and closed game, hoping to blunt Fischer's aggressive intentions. 2. d4, Fischer immediately establishes a strong pawn center, seizing a space advantage and setting the stage for a powerful attack. This is the most ambitious approach against the French. 2. d5, Darga immediately challenges White's central control, creating the characteristic locked pawn structure of the French defense and initiating a complex strategic struggle. 3. nc3, Fischer develops his knight to its most active post, putting immediate pressure on Black's position and steering the game into the theoretically rich and complex main lines. 3. bb4, Darga commits to the sharp and double-edged winnower variation. By pinning the knight, he creates an immediate imbalance, daring Fischer to enter a tactical labyrinth. For e5, Fischer accepts the challenge, advancing his pawn to gain space and cramp Black's position. This move locks the center and sets the stage for attacks on opposite flanks. 4. c5, the classic counterstrike of the French defense. Darga wastes no time in attacking the base of White's pawn chain at d4, seeking to undermine White's central control. 5. e3, Fischer forces the issue, immediately challenging the pinned bishop. This is a critical moment that forces Black to release the tension and define the pawn structure for the rest of the game. 5. bxc3+, Darga captures the knight, accepting a damaged pawn structure for White in exchange for the long-term advantage of the bishop pair, a key strategic theme of the winnower. 6. bxc3, Fischer recaptures toward the center, accepting the doubled pawns. While a potential long-term weakness, these pawns also bolster his central control and open the b-file for his rook. 6. n7, Darga develops his knight to its most flexible square, from where it can support the kingside, prepare to challenge White's center, and eye the f5 square for future activity. 7. f4, a key prophylactic and strategic move from Fischer. He prepares to activate his bad light-squared bishop via a3, or it will exert immense pressure on Black's queenside. 7. qc7, a multi-purpose queen move. Darga increases his control over the center, puts pressure on the e5 pawn, and prepares to challenge White on the queenside. 8. nf3, Fischer continues with natural and powerful development, bringing his knight into the game and preparing to castle his king to safety, from where he can direct the attack. 8. b6, Darga initiates a crucial plan to solve the problem of his bad French bishop. He intends to fianchetto or trade this piece, thus activating his entire army. 9. bb5+, an incisive and annoying check. Fischer disrupts Black's coordination, forcing the bishop to a passive square and making it much harder for Darga to execute his plan. 9. bd7, the only logical response, but it leaves the bishop in a passive position. Darga's plan to trade his worst piece has been effectively parried by Fischer's precise play. 10. bd3, Fischer develops his bishop to an ideal attacking square. From d3, it controls key diagonals, puts pressure on the Black kingside, and supports White's central ambitions. 10. nbc6, Darga develops his final minor piece, increasing the pressure on the d4 pawn. The opening phase is over, and the complex middle game battle is about to begin. 11. With his king safely castled, Fischer completes his development. His pieces are now perfectly coordinated and ready to launch a powerful attack on multiple fronts. 11. c4, a significant strategic decision by Darga. He closes the center, hoping to blunt the power of White's bishops, but this gives Fischer a free hand to operate on the wings. 12. b2, Fischer wisely repositions his bishop. From e2, it has greater flexibility, ready to defend the kingside or swing over to the queenside to join the assault. 12. f6, a desperate but necessary attempt to create counterplay. Darga strikes at White's center, trying to blast open lines for his pieces before Fischer's attack becomes overwhelming. 13. ba3, Fischer's bad bishop now becomes a strategic monster. Placed on its optimal diagonal, it slices across the board, paralyzing Black's position and dominating the game. 13. Fx5, Darga is forced to capture, opening the f-file. He hopes to generate some attacking chances against the white king, but this also opens lines for white's superior pieces. 14, Dx5, Fischer recaptures, maintaining the tension and clarifying his positional advantage. His pieces are perfectly poised to exploit the newly created weaknesses in black's camp. 14, Nx5, black recaptures the pawn, bringing a knight to the center. However, this piece is isolated and will soon become a target for white's coordinated forces. 15, 1 rupee, Fischer improves his position with every move. The rook moves to the semi-open e-file, adding more pressure and preparing to seize complete control of the center. 15, N7 c6, Darga brings another knight to defend the center, but his position is becoming critically passive. He is being squeezed by Fischer's relentless positional pressure. 16, Nx5, a brilliant exchange that demonstrates deep understanding. Fischer trades a knight to open the position for his two powerful bishops, which will now reign supreme. 16, Nx5, Darga recaptures, but now his lone knight is no match for Fischer's bishop pair. The strategic battle has been decisively won by white. 17, F4, a powerful pawn thrust. Fischer drives the black knight away from its central outpost, seizing more space and preparing to launch the final, decisive phase of the attack. 17, Nc6, the knight is forced into a passive retreat to the edge of the board, where it can only watch as Fischer's forces prepare to storm the black king's fortress. 18, Bg4, the bishop moves to a devastating attacking square. From here, it creates multiple threats against the uncastled black king, forcing Darga into a desperate decision. 18, Darga is forced to castle into the line of fire on the queenside. While escaping the immediate kingside threats, his king now finds itself in a new, more deadly peril. 19, B6, the harvest begins. Fischer cashes in his positional advantage, capturing a key pawn and completely shattering the defensive pawn shield around the black king. 19, B6, Darga must recapture, but this only serves to open more lines for white's rooks, which are now poised to invade and deliver the finishing blow. 20, Rec 6, the rook invades the 6th rank with crushing force. This piece becomes an absolute monster, dominating the position and creating unstoppable threats against the exposed king. 20, Rd7, a desperate attempt to create a defensive blockade, but it is a futile gesture against the full might of Fischer's attacking army. The position is strategically lost. 21, F5, Fischer relentlessly presses his advantage. This pawn push further restricts black's pieces and prepares to open even more lines for his attack. The pressure is unbearable. 21, Nd8, the knight is forced into a miserable defensive posture, completely tied down to the defense of weak points. It is a symbol of black's utter helplessness. 22, Re3, a calm and precise repositioning. Fischer moves his rook to a more flexible square, maintaining control and patiently preparing the final, decisive combination. 22, Qf4, a desperate queen sortie from Darga, who hopes to create some counter-threats. However, this only serves to expose his own king even more. 23, Rf3, Fischer calmly parries the threat, forcing the black queen to retreat. His control is absolute, and he gives his opponent no room to breathe. 23, Qe4, the black queen is pushed back to a less threatening square. White's strategic dominance is now complete, and the rest is a matter of flawless execution. 24, F5, the final phase of the attack begins. Fischer opens a new front on the queenside, preparing to rip open the files directly in front of the vulnerable black king. 24, Nc6, the black knight returns to the fray, but it is far too late. The white attack is coming from all sides, and a single piece cannot hope to stop the avalanche. 25, X6, Fischer tears open the A-file, creating a direct highway for his queen and rook to invade. The black king's position is now collapsing completely. 25, X6, Darga is forced to recapture, but this only confirms that the newly open A-file will be the theater for the final, brutal execution. 26, QB1, the queen joins the attack. A decisive maneuver that puts immense pressure on black's weak pawns and prepares to deliver the coup de grace on the queenside. 26. kc7. The black king is forced to step into the line of fire, a clear sign that the end is near. There are no safe squares left on the board. 27. bc1. A brilliant and subtle bishop move, the quiet prelude to the storm. Fischer repositions this piece for the final, game-winning assault via the f4 square. 27. qe1+, a last, desperate check, but it is a futile gesture that only delays the inevitable. It is a final cry of defiance before the end. 28. rf1. Fischer calmly blocks the check. His king is perfectly safe, while his own attacking forces are poised to deliver the final, unstoppable blow. 28. qxc3. Darga grabs a meaningless pawn, a final act in a completely lost position. This allows Fischer to unleash his beautiful final combination. 29. bf4+, the killer blow. The bishop arrives on f4 with a devastating check, forcing the black king into a mating net from which there is no escape. 29. kb7. The king is forced onto the b-file, where it is now a helpless target for the full might of white's major pieces. The game is over. 30. qb5. The decisive and elegant final move. Fischer's queen swings to the b-file, creating an unstoppable mating threat. Seeing no defense, Darga resigns. A true positional masterpiece.